Okay, so I wanted to do like a little bit of a Pesach theme today. So we're not going to do Sikos Haran. We're going to do Likutey Moharan. So it's actually really about like having, what I'm trying to bring out in this piece, and you'll see, it's going to be about like really having like joy for Yom Tov. So, okay. So we'll start. So first of all, we should dedicate this year to the refuah shlema of Uriel ben Tzipora, and the safe return of all the hostages, and the shiur for our chayalim, and that they should be metzliach in ridding the world of evil. So, okay. So Likutey Moharan, Lamed 30. Okay. So perceptions of godliness can only be grasped through many contractions, from the first cause to the cause, from the upper intellect to the lower intellect. We see this empirically, that it is impossible to grasp the greater insight without it being enclosed in the lower insight. Okay, so basically the way we can take in Hashem really could only be grasped. We could only like get it through contractions, and we've spoken about this like a lot in this shiur. Like the sefirot are there for us to. It's like a filtering system. The sefirot, like Keter, Bina, Chachma. Like it's all Gvura, Ho, Netzach, Sod. Malchus is the lowest. It's all there really to filter God's light through. It's like sunglasses, like different layers of sunglasses. And where Rebbe Nachman says here, from the first cause to the cause, it's like the first cause is God, and the cause is us, it's creation. That's what he means by that. From the upper intellect to the lower intellect. The upper intellect is like the highest sphera of Chachma. Well, really, Keter is the highest, but Chachma is like the highest in this world. And the lowest intellect is Malchus. Which really corresponds, hey, what's up, Bela? Welcome. And the lowest is Malchus, which is really corresponds to faith. Like it has to do with us having, Malchus is emunah. Like it's always translated as emunah. Like we need to have emunah in Hashem, just to understand it simply, So, and Malchus is like kind of like where we associate, where we play, where we interact, I guess, Okay. This is like the teacher who, when he wants to elucidate a profound insight to the student, must include it in a lower, lesser insight so that the student will be able to understand it. That is, he begins by supplying him with introductions and lesser insights, which first take him round about the material, so that through this he can give him to understand the intended subject, itself a lofty and great insight. So Rebbe Nachman is saying here that we have to first start on the lowest point, and then we move up slowly. And it's the same way with like a teacher who you have to break it down, basically. Like you start at the lowest, and then you move up. To understand like godly awareness, okay? To understand perceptions of God.
Where he says itself is a lofty and great insight, he's talking about the lower level is in itself also lofty and great insight?
Yeah. But you have to, like, it's not, like again, like if you picture it as like going straight down, like a filtering system, like there's still higher levels, Right. But yeah, like but you can't, everything, it's even though it's levels, like at the same time, like everything is also kind of equal, because you can't, like if you don't, like we just said, like Malchus is emunah. If you don't have emunah, then how are you anywhere on this spectrum? Like it's all encompassing also. Okay. Each person must seek out a suitable teacher such as this, one who can elucidate and give him to understand such a great and lofty insight, namely perceptions of godliness. For this is something which requires a very, very great rabbi, one who can explain an insight as this through a lesser and lower insight, as mentioned, so that people lacking in spiritual perception can understand it. In addition, the more one is lacking in spiritual perception and the further one is from the Holy One, the greater the rabbi one needs. Thus we find that when the Jewish people were on a very low level, okay, so let me just, before I even go to that, so Rebbe Nachman's saying here, like, the lower a person is, the greater rabbi they need, the greater tzaddik they need to help them, like, be mitakin. And he's giving an example. When the Jewish people were on a very low level, when they were trapped in the 49 gates of impurity in Egypt, they required a great master, a great and awesome teacher, namely Moshe Rabbeinu. For the more lacking and removed one is, the more one needs a great teacher. He has to be an educator of such quality that he's able to imbue, elucidate, and include an insight as lofty as this, i.e. a perception of the Holy One, to one as lacking and distant as he. For the sick or the patient, the greater and more expert the doctor he requires. Hey Abigail, welcome. So I love that he says that. Like, that just, like, makes it so clear, right? Like, the sicker the patient, the greater doctor you need to help you, right? And it's the same, it's going to be same on the spiritual level as well.
It's simple logic.
Right. But we don't think so. We're just like, oh, okay.
Good enough for me.
Right, good enough for me. If I could be like him, I'll be good, you know? Like the Rav of, but like, no, like the sicker spiritually you are, the greater the Rebbe you need, the greater the tzaddik.
For us, because like if Rebbe Nachman is our Rebbe and he's like the biggest Rebbe, then he must be very very humbling.
I was thinking the same thing.
Like our whole generations, like
Right.
everyone is getting close to Rebbe Nachman.
Right.
Like,
So what does that say?
People are also like you know, this whole Shabbaton about Pnimius HaTorah and everything. People are like dying for tzaddikim now, dying.
Right.
Not just Rebbe Nachman, but like everybody. You know, like people are.
It's not even. It's like wild how popular it, how like it's spreading everywhere. Like,
Right. We're sick.
Especially now,
Yeah.
the past year, it spread like crazy.
Right. We are a sick generation. You know.
Schools, right? They're always like quoting Rebbe Nachman. Like 20 years ago, no one even spoke
Kids'
about
schools
it.
are growing right now.
Right.
Music also, the songs.
Right.
I remember learning in like 3rd grade mitzvah gedola liyo b'simcha tamid. Like, I remember that, you know.
Right, so you knew where it was from. You knew where it was from?
I remember my teacher saying it. She must have been Breslov, and I didn't realize, you know.
Right. I also never knew it was Rebbe Nachman.
Oh, we heard mitzvah
And my
Gedalia.
Right.
We grew up in Berlin.
Right. So I read something incredible, Racheli. Sorry, I'm repeating something that I said last night. Goldie had this journaling thing that me and Racheli were at. It was really nice. Anyways, so first of all, like, think of also also Mashiach, you know, like Mashiach is going to be, like, how amazing is Mashiach going to be to pull us out of this, you know, like it has to be, he really has to be tremendous. But I read in the footnotes from the Zohar that, like, it says we were trapped in like 49 gates of impurity in Egypt, right? And we needed like somebody so amazing, Moshe Rabbeinu, to pull us out of it, right? And so it was saying, like, the Zohar asks, why is, like, you see Am Yisrael mentioned 50 times throughout the Torah? Like, it's a lot of times to mention, like, one event. And, okay, it was spectacular, it was amazing, and I feel like this also has to do with Pesach now, obviously, you know? But we should know that, like, Hashem, so the answer the Zohar gives is that because, hey, Goldie, the answer the Zohar gives is because, like, Hashem wanted to show that it's not just like that Hashem, like, redeemed us from Mitzrayim and he took us out of slavery. It's much more. Hashem actually, like, raised us from level to level to level till the 50th to be Makabel the Torah. I said this last night. This is so, like, and that was like Hashem's, like, ultimate chesed. Like, it's not just like, okay, physically we left. Like, spiritually we were in a different place, and it was like through Hashem's chesed that he did that for us. And, like, so too, like, with Pesach coming up now, like, it's just, you have to have in mind, like, it's not just like the physical bondage that we're looking to be freed from, but it's the spiritual bondage as well. And it's the, like, Hashem, we're like, at the Seder night, we're having emunah. It's all about emunah, which is malchus, like how we started this. But, you know, matzah is like the bread of faith. Then we don't even say Shema at night because, like, we're good. Like, Hashem has our back, you know? And it's just like, it's this emunah that Hashem's going to redeem us, not just physically from the difficulties we're in, but also spiritually. Like he's going to give us these greater insights, these perceptions of God. Okay, so therefore, a person should not say, it is enough for me to be a follower of a distinguished, God-fearing individual, even if he is not so outstanding. Would that I be like him? Do not say this. On the contrary, to the degree that a person knows inside himself the extent of his unworthiness and his remoteness from the Holy One, commensurate with that, with what each and every person knows in his soul, as well as the great distance which he himself recognizes, he has to seek a very, very great healer for his soul, indeed the greatest one. That is, he has to persistently and constantly request that he be found worthy of drawing closer to the very, very great master. For the more one is lacking in spiritual perception, the greater the teacher he needs as above. I'm just grabbing a tissue, one sec. But, so that also, like, it's like what you were saying, Lonnie, like, it's like we always have to, like, request to, like, understand the teachings and, like, and, like, be drawn to, like, the great tzaddik, Okay, so I think I skipped for you. So it goes into, I'm skipping around in this piece a little bit because it gets very technical.
It seems like it's a little bit differently that,
Yeah.
I know I'm jumping in the middle. So
Yeah, go for it.
that you look at sometimes the people who look sick, like look like they're so removed, and I think of, okay, how great are the people who are working with them, who are there for them,
Right.
right? Like sometimes they're seen as like, oh, the lesser, like they're not as big, they're not,
Right.
but the opposite.
They're bigger.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
That's what
Yeah.
she's just saying.
yeah, that they're obeying themselves.
That's it. Yeah, I love that. I love that you brought that up. That's beautiful. Yeah. And also, like, I was thinking, you just reminded me, like, I was also thinking, like, of, like, teens at risk and
Right,
all that
that's
stuff
what I'm
also. Right.
Yeah.
And, like, but them too, like, as much as, like, they seem, I find this comforting for like, them as well. Because as much as, like, they seem sick or, like, it's just, like, they just, like, can't stand the hypocrisies anymore. And it's, like,
Well,
and
it's
it's-
said of this year.
Right.
They're just like smarter than everyone.
Exactly.
They see
like
through the
how
whole thing.
everything is
They see
so
the
wrong.
picture differently.
Right.
Like,
And it's like
check
a lot of our teenagers, even if they're not, like, even if they're not, like, up to bad things or bad, I'm putting that in quotes, like, up to bad things. Like, so maybe some teenagers don't numb out as much as others do, but it's like, there's definitely still, like, a numbness with, like, a lot of, like, teenagers today, and I think it has to do with, like, just, like, seeing it's like calling everybody out,
Not only teenagers.
Right.
Listen, unfortunately, a few years ago, I went to a Menachem level, someone that her son-in-law, whatever, he passed away, let's not talk about how. And the mother-in-law told me he couldn't live in this world anymore. He couldn't live with the sheker. This is before October 7th or whatever.
Right.
And she told me he died because he was such a sensitive soul.
Mm-hmm.
He couldn't see the sheker, how strong it was in this world, and the hypocrisy, like you're saying.
Right.
And she said he couldn't survive this world. Interesting.
Rav Kook has a whole piece.
You sent me about that neurodivergent. Remember that shiur you sent me? That's literally what they were talking about, that it's like an inner, like a battle with being in Olam Hazeh.
Right.
It's hard for the neshama to be in this world.
Right.
For sure. Rav Kook has a piece just, like, along these lines where he talks about, I think, like, you could assume just historically he was addressing, like, the, the Zionist movement that, like, threw off Torah and mitzvos, but, like, we could also put it, like, towards what we're dealing with in this generation with, like, kids and teenagers and, like, us too, like, totally, like, it's all about, like, it's all to call out the hypocrisies, or, like, all to call out, the chutzpah is all to call out the hypocrisies, like, it makes us have to look deeper into ourselves and, like, figure out, like, what are we doing wrong, and the tzaddikim and the chachamim, and, like, I think that's, and, like Rebbe Nachman saying here, like, the sicker the soul, the greater the master you need, like, it's not, there can't be any hypocrisy. Has to be the person has to be like completely clean, and then people could connect to it, you know. Okay, so okay, it's gonna get a little interesting now. Okay, now each and every mitzvah has letters, words, and themes, which are the measure and specifications in which the wisdom of the Holy One is contracted. This corresponds to the upper intellect. Do you guys see where I am?
Yeah.
Being enclosed in the lower intellect, through which we merit perceptions of godliness as above. So, like, just like, you know, like we might not understand why we have to do certain mitzvos and why the Torah is written in certain ways, or why like Hashem uses this word instead of that word, right? But it's all like, again, it's all just to like clothe the lower intellect. To clothe the upper intellect into the lower intellect. It's all like, it's breaking it down. Again, it's like going through this like filtering system so we could understand.
Sounds almost like an algorithm. You know what I mean? Like there's no lot, like even if we don't understand why. If you say this and you do that and you do this hand motion, so then this will happen.
Right.
You know, without
Yeah. And like I've learned before, like how Hashem does all the mitzvos, like in Shemayim also, you know, like it looks different up there, obviously. Like Hashem, it's not physical, so he's not like putting on tefillin, you know, even though there is, like it says on his, whatever, but like, it's like just, it's just like this upper, like, spirituality and being clothed in like this lower intellect, and like that's how we relate to the world.
Can I just, I'm learning with a friend, I'm learning Chori, which is Rav Hirsch,
Mm-hmm.
which is like the polar opposite of this. Like you can't get any more, it's like so like cut and dried and not like woo woo and
Right.
whatever. And he says the same exact
Right.
thing. It's so like I love like I learned this in the morning and then I call her, she's in America, so I call her like Monday like afternoon,
Okay.
and like it's the same. He says the same thing, like you're doing the mitzvos, right? And like you don't know really why, but like you kind of have to let go of that intellectual piece and just do them anyway because you don't really know what's happening there. And I just love that it's the same thing.
Totally.
You're learning Rav Hirsch in English?
It's English, yeah.
Well, he's right? He's like
Yeah, and he's
German
like-
Jew.
Right.
Yeah, and it's like very like
Interesting.
like structured
Right.
and
Methodical.
but it's the same.
The same information.
It's great.
Everybody
Yeah.
is the same information.
I love it.
I know.
Yeah.
It all comes together,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Okay, take for example a large mountain. When it stands opposite the pupil, the black of the eye, the entire mountain is confined within the pupil that sees it. This is because the blackness in the eye contracts all large things, and they are included and seen in it. Through this, one is able to see and grasp that which is being looked at. In a similar fashion, the lower intellect contracts and confines the great upper intellect, and it becomes included within it. Right? Like, it makes no sense why, like, a tremendous mountain, like, why, like, how we could perceive it without it actually coming into our brains, right? But it, like, the pupil has to contract it and, like, bring the message to the brain, you know? So, too, it is with the lower intellect, like, the way we relate to the way, like, this world, you know, like, where this world is really, it's contracting, like, the great.
It makes sense because it's like, how could the lower intellect contain something that's bigger?
Right.
This is how.
Right. But what do you mean by this is how? Explain.
I'm saying
Go.
this analogy really explains
Right.
it, because otherwise it wouldn't make sense. Why would contracting into something lower, why
Right.
would you be able to grasp something bigger by making it smaller?
Right. Totally.
So what are you understanding when you understand with your lower intellect? Like you're using it to understand. Like, what are you understanding? Like a version of
Perceptions of God.
right.
That's like how the piece starts. Like, perceptions of godliness can only be grasped through many contractions. That's the first line of this piece.
Right. Okay.
So it's the perceptions. Like, again, like I said, like, Malchus always correlates to emunah. So, like, you have to start, sorry, my stomach's making noise. Like, you have to start off, like, with that piece, with the emunah piece,
So
you know?
Lahavdil, this reminds me of a quote that says, basically, if you can't teach it to a 5-year-old, you don't really understand it. That you have to be able to take something and break it down into its simplest concept
Right.
if you really understood it.
Yeah.
Oh,
And like, it's really cool actually when you think about it. Like, how many
Right.
things you have to know really well to be able to teach it to a small person.
Right. That means I know nothing. I can't explain anything. Okay. But it's true. I totally agree with what you're saying. You know, it's just like, you'll see. Okay. Through this, one is able to see, understand, and grasp the upper great intellect as explained. And the main life force, okay, this is the part where I'm not going to, I can't explain it, guys, okay? And the main life force comes from the light of the face, so Zer Ampin, as in, from Mishlei, in the light of the living king's countenance. One, therefore, so Zer Ampin is like the spheros that are higher than Malchus, like Chesed, Yisod, Hod, Gvura, 6. Tiferet, thanks. I can't, whatever. So, I'm missing one. Okay. So one therefore has to elevate Malchus, lower wisdom, to the light of the face, which radiates on the 3 festivals. So you have to, it's our job to bring this Malchus higher, to bring it to the higher spheros. I mean, it's again, we're going to get, what do you need?
I was thinking that's a sitter.
Netzach.
Is it?
You said it?
I don't know. Netzach, Hod, Yisod, Malchus. No, Malchus isn't included. Gvura, Chesed. What am I missing? Tiferet, right? That's 6. Okay, yeah. So you're right. Yeah, that's the one I was missing. So, I wish I could explain what this means and how we're supposed to bring Malchus to Zer Ampin, but I'm just gonna go with Rebbe Nachman, I guess, is gonna explain it, but
Well, it says, if I'm thinking of the Musaf of the Shlosh Regalim, that's what I'm trying to consider.
Yeah.
I think it says that Shlosh Pamim Yarvo, right? We're coming 3 times. I think the wording is below your ass Pnei Hashem Rikam. Don't see the light. You shouldn't come to the light of Hashem's face empty-handed, right? And here it's comparing that. It's saying that the light of the face is radiates on the 3 festivals.
Right. Oh,
wow.
love it. Wow.
Why do you know this?
Beis Yaakov.
The only thing I know about Beis Yaakov is I had amazing bathroom friends. Amazing.
That's funny.
I hung out with the older kids.
That's so funny. Okay.
Oh, God. Good for you.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, so Rebbe Nachman's going to go on to say, he's going to bring a bunch of quotes, but he's basically going to go on to say, so how do you get to the Zer Ampin? We started off with Malchus, with emunah, and how are we going to get to this Zer Ampin, to this higher level? And it's through joy, okay? And it's through joy on these 3 festivals. So he's just going to bring a bunch of quotes, but this is, what he's saying. Okay.
Describe what the Zer, is it outside of the sphere, a higher level, or?
No,
we're
it's
not
the,
going there? Or,
no, it is those spheros.
oh, okay. Just
It's-
trying to, understand.
Malchus is this
The
is
lower
that's our
part. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
our interaction zone. That's the lowest, and then those 6 that we listed, and then it brings you to Chachma and Bina,
All these, right?
right?
And that-
The higher ones.
So Zer Ampin is another way of saying them, or is it a different level?
I don't know the answer, but it's a good question. I don't I don't have so much clarity on the spheros and stuff. I always want to
I could look it up.
yeah,
Okay.
go into it more, and somehow it never happens. But it's chaval, because it's a big, Rebbe Nachman always talks about the spheros, so it would probably I would gain a lot more understanding, Okay. So a joyous heart makes a good countenance, and the essence of joy is from the mitzvos. From Tehillim, the instructions of God are upright, they make the heart rejoice, and the main joy is in the heart. As is written, you place joy in my heart, with the heart of the entire year being the 3 festivals. So again, he's bringing quotes to explain why joy and the 3 festivals go together, and how that brings you to the next level. This is as in from Vayikra. Ela Moedei Yod Kei Vav Kei, Ela Moedei Hashem, right? These are the festivals of God. The first letters spell Am, my mother, which Am is Bina, understanding, from Mishlei, and understand. So, like Av is Chachma and Aim is Bina. That's also like a Kabbalistic thing. And understanding is the heart, Tikkun Zohar. Now, the joy of the mitzvos, which we fulfill throughout the year, gathers in the heart, the 3 festivals. This is why the days of joy, as in Devarim, you will rejoice on your festival. Then the face radiates because of the joy, as in a joyous heart makes a good countenance. Because of this, we were commanded 3 times each year.
That's what I was quoting.
Oh.
That's exactly what you just said.
Oh, wow. Nice, Abigail. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Good
Good
touch.
practice.
3 times each year, all the males shall thus appear before the countenance of God your Lord in order to receive from the light of the face. Right. Okay, yeah. Thanks, Abigail. So basically, point here is that, I mean, there's a lot of different points here, like just, perceptions of God can only be attained through like breaking it down basically, and therefore you need the greatest tzaddik, right, to like break it down properly, and then we went into this joy on the chagim, and that's really what we need. And like I was reading I was trying to find sources, so like I didn't bring them all in, but I was reading like other pieces about how like, first of all, that Nisan is like a big month. It's like parallel to Tishrei. And it's yeah, no, because it's, you said this last night also, right?
Smart. I said it over at night to my husband at work.
Right.
By the way, you understand when God started to create the world, when did he choose? He's probably like, I'm trying to work.
Right. I'm sure he loves it.
Nisan corresponds to
Tishrei.
Yeah. Because
There are 2 beginnings of the year in the Hebrew calendar.
Right.
Hebrew calendar.
And it even said like that it's in a different piece that I thought I was going to bring in, but I didn't in the end. It was like it says that the heart is like the heart is really like the creator of the creative part of the world. Like the heart is like the designer of the world, and like Nisan and Tishrei are the 2 arms. Like it's and it like all like it like correlates to, and the heart is also where Bina sits. Like it's whatever. It's this whole. It was a very cool piece, but too complicated for me, so I just went with this one. But it's like this
no
is.
one's a Nisan birthday yet?
No.
Figured.
But Rebbe Nachman was.
Tishrei.
Aleph
I have
Nisan.
2 kids that are Nisan.
Really? I don't. No, she's.
So what?
So Nisan really is this like I mean, whatever, Pesach, it's like, we have to have joy, and we could bring down like a lot of tikkunim from like really coming to the Chag with joy. That's like the whole, that's really the whole point that I'm trying to bring out.
specifically Pesach though.
All the 3 festivals, all the.
Why is it so Pesach is so stressful?
Right.
No, not even the cleaning. I'm saying it's
Right.
always this is
Dramatic.
everyone's always having family drama.
Maybe
Pesach
that's
time,
why.
whatever.
Maybe that's why. Because the klipo,
We have
because
less
the
drama,
joy
we
is
don't
so
make
potent.
Makes sense.
Right.
So I keep telling everyone who's calling and freaking out. It's 8 days. You're gonna be okay. It's 8 days.
Right.
Really?
Right.
So it must be because it's
There's so much.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean,
Right. The
People
klipa.
bring brought to like peel away.
Right.
bring what?
I think we're being brought to peel away the people don't find the joy.
Right.
Well, it's not easy. Like
No.
the Yitzhar will always come and try to find reasons why we shouldn't.
But maybe that's where the joy comes from. The joy comes from
Yeah.
getting
My
these
son helps you
dramatic
with the rest of the
conflicts
house.
intact and with our integrity somewhat intact.
Right.
If we can.
Right. It's a process. Like we're all learning to do it right. Like we're learning the Torahs. We're under. You know what I'm saying? Like.
every year. Try again.
Right. We're learning to do it right. Like, and it's kedai to like really.
He hears his friend talking.
Like it's Pesach. Like it's the month of redemption. You know, and we just really have to. Again, like this whole thing. Like we have to believe. Like it's. Malchus connects to the emunah, and we just really have to believe like Hashem will redeem us, not just physically, but like emotionally, spiritually, on every level. You know.
What does the joy bring?
The joy brings. Rebbe Nachman here is just saying like you should have joy on the Chagim, but the joy I saw in other pieces that he says the joy brings like major tikkunim. Like, and he actually says that each festival, each chag, like correlates to like a different taiva that you could like annihilate. Sukkot was food.
Yeah.
Shavuos is money or sexual lust, right? And
Well,
so
here's
then
something
Pesach
interesting.
is money.
So interesting because by
Pesach
Pesach
is money?
Yeah, like the taiva for money.
Right?
Oh.
When Pesach is typically, we go
No,
out
and
trying to
I
swap.
was surprised also. It said Sukkot was
Wait,
food.
what did you say about
Sukkot
again?
is
Remind.
Shiur.
Isn't Pesach all about food?
Shiur is your yatzer.
I know. I was surprised at that.
No, Shavuos is sexual time.
I know,
Yeah.
but your ears perked up. When
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, what did you say about what?
It's each thing is a tikkun. Each yatzer is a tikkun
And
for a
what's
different
Shavuos?
thing. Lust.
I was talking to my 12-year-old.
Why? Because you don't get
about
any. They're in shul.
Right,
They never
correct.
go.
That's how it's tikkun. That's
That's
what's
why I feel like I'm
happening.
married to the Sefer Torah my whole life. But now I also
You're making dairy also. This is wonderful.
wonderful Shavuos.
Oh, it's at
Cheese and
Pesach.
appetite.
Yeah, Pesach rectifies the appetite for wealth. Shavuos, sexual lust, and Sukkot, the impulse to eat to access.
Maybe because we have to spend so much
Because I
money
thought
on
I was going to do
Pesach.
that source.
What is it?
Pesach is so expensive.
Right.
Wait, what did you say about Pesach?
Pesach is money.
Money.
Yeah, 'cause
Right.
people spend so much on his programs and like.
You also spend money and not on programs.
Right.
Yeah.
Pesach is
That's
very
not even a
expensive.
program.
So it's a tikkun for money.
Yeah. No, I don't know. It's very
Everything has to be
To remove the desire for
But it's a
money.
mitzvah to spend money on Yom Tov.
Yeah, no, Rebbe Nachman also says here, I have another one. There are many different ways of honoring the festivals with fine food and drink, beautiful clothes, pure and holy thoughts, joy, and open-heartedness.
Oh, okay.
That's from Likutey Moharan
I thought you were
Tanina 1,
going to
you
say it
know?
brings us great money, and I'm like, I'm in, you know? You're saying you just remove the timer from me, then.
What is
Oh,
it?
shit.
I don't anymore.
Okay.
I don't need it anymore?
Yeah.
Okay, guys, moving on. Okay, so I just wanted to bring in like a few pieces of simcha because that could be helpful. Okay, so Likutey Moharan Tanina 23. Okay, on the topic of simcha, an analogy. Sometimes when people are happy and dance, they grab someone standing outside the circle who is depressed and gloomy. Against his will, they bring him into the circle of dancers. Against his will, they force him to be happy along with them. It is the same with happiness. When a person is happy, gloom and suffering stand aside. Yet greater still is to gather courage to actually pursue gloom and to introduce it into joy, such that the gloom itself turns into joy. A person should transform gloom and all suffering into joy. It is like a person who comes to a celebration. The abundant joy and happiness then transforms all his worries, depression, and gloom into joy. So Rebbe Nachman's talking about Rebbe Nachman's not just saying oh, you should, dance anyways, even though you have the gloom there. He's saying you have to transform it into happiness.
Well, how do you do
This
that
is
without taking drugs?
IFS. You said this last year. You
Yeah,
said this
yeah,
last
yeah,
year before
yeah.
About like
Really?
I said
Yeah.
it to
about
someone
like
on
taking
Moharan.
the depression
Yeah.
and like feeling it
Right.
and not just ignoring it and being
I actually want to, I'm thinking of a painting.
It's the only way.
Painting of that would be such a gorgeous painting.
What do you
Are you looking
Go to Lonnie. That's what she does. She helped me paint that. Not help me. She did it with me. That would be more accurate.
Transformation. I see that as a
Turning into color. It's
Nice.
like
She sells painting?
No, she's an art teacher.
Oh, I didn't know this. Cool. Okay.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
I couldn't have do it without Lonnie.
Effie painted it.
No, we did it together.
Effie came.
Any part that came out good, it's because of Lonnie.
Not that easy.
You take second grade for next year?
Yeah.
She's so, not because she's.
Okay, guys, we're moving on.
Effie,
Okay.
he's saying that it's not a distraction. Not like if you're sad, so dance to forget your troubles. It's like dance with your troubles.
Exactly.
Dance with your trouble.
And I heard,
Right, that's beautiful.
right,
This
dance,
is the whole IFS model.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's-
IFS is internal family system. It's like a
It's a therapy modality.
modality, but it's very popular now. Everyone's like.
Well, because this is what it's about. It's about making, I also use achdus, it's making peace with the parts. I think that's why it's so popular now.
Right.
Because we have to make peace with the internal
No.
parts, to make peace with the
What's
external
so
parts.
popular
and make-
It's IFS modality.
IFS, it's about making peace
What
with
am I,
the
know what you're
internal.
talking about, IFS?
Maybe you haven't been to enough.
Whatever, we'll go into, just say the insight that you were gonna say. That.
said it, no.
Oh, okay, that's it? Okay, fine.
Hang on.
I don't wanna get into the whole IFS. I love IFS, but Okay, so, but it's basically like it's saying like you take the depression, you grab the depression, you know, and then you bring it into the joy. But like you're not ignoring it. You're not just like you stay to the side and I'm going to do the dance. Like no, like you're bringing it in, you know. It's like very powerful. It is like a person who the abundant. Okay, I read that. We find that he has grabbed the gloom and introduced it against its will into the joy, as in the aforementioned analogy. This is the concept of they will attain gladness and joy as sadness and sighing flee. The sadness and sighing flee and run from joy, for at a time of joy it is the nature of sadness and sighing to stand aside. Yet one actually has to pursue them and to catch up with and reach them in order to specifically introduce them into the joy. This is the meaning of they will attain gladness and joy. I think it could also mean like even in your sadness, like it could be, this is like another maybe way of doing it, like even in your sadness, you could find something that brings you happiness, like in the sadness, you know, like, I'm trying to think of an example. Like,
Tova, you're saying?
Yeah. Like a point of happiness in it. Like, okay, like I'm going through this like very difficult thing, but I'm learning a lot from it. Or
I feel like it's what we learned 2 weeks ago about Hashem Echad. Like if
How?
you know, because if you have that before you, like Hashem Echad, like everything that Hashem is doing is for you, and it's good. Then the gloom turns to joy. Like if something
Right.
bad happens to you, but you're like, really, it's good to me. It seems in my limited mind, it seems bad, but I believe that it's good.
right,
Then you're
Right.
not sad about it anymore.
right, you could transform it. Yeah. Gladness and joy will catch up with seize the sadness and sighing as they flee and run from joy in order to introduce them against their will into the joy. For there are types of sadness and sighing that are from the other side. They do not want to be a vehicle for holiness, and so they flee from joy. Consequently, one needs to force them into the holiness, the joy against their will. So just like, I just want to put this out there, like Rebbe Nachman always says that, like, he says it in so many places about sadness and sighing are from the other side. Like there's no place for it and not to make people feel guilty that they feel sadness and depression, but it's just like, but just know that we're human, so we have it, and the other side will always come to attack us. So there's no reason for anyone to feel shame or sadness about, like, you know, don't be more depressed about your depression. But I'm saying like, but you should just know, like Rebbe Nachman talks about this in so many places, that it's really from the other side, and like there's no, it's just like the Yetzer Hara's way to bring us down. That's what it is.
I like that it says that the gladness will catch up with the sadness, because even if you don't have the strength, or I don't have the strength to like turn the gloominess into happiness, maybe it's like, you know, fake it till you make it. Like if you just force yourself to be very, very happy, then it will like automatically chase the gloom away.
Right. That's what this is. You're dragging the gladness, the sadness into the circle. It doesn't want to be there, but you're faking it till you're making it, you know?
He does say somewhere else that it's important. Let's say there is something that we're going through, like you said even last night, mourning, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mourning something, and it's appropriate to be sad. If we choose 1 hour or a specific time of the day to be sad, then that's exactly the way to be sad, because
Right.
it's not, during the day when all of a sudden these sad thoughts come, then they take over, and then they're unconsciously running my day. It's that I'm choosing it.
Right.
So it's a whole different
You have to sit
way.
with it.
Yeah.
100%.
So I'm choosing it, and then just for that hour, and then the rest of the day I'm happy.
Right. And I think that's what, I think that's what like this is saying also, like you have to chase it. You have to chase the depression. Like you're literally chasing it to like bring it in, you know? It's,
I feel like nowadays it's even more relevant than ever. The topic of like, there's so much garbage and there's so much darkness, there's so much sheker that it suffocates you. And I think I'm not going to speak for everybody,
right.
but I feel like even me, that I never was a person that felt like any anxiety, Baruch Hashem.
Right.
Like I didn't understand it. I feel now like, I'm like, oh, this is what it feels to be anxious. Oh, like I'm starting to hear sirens in my ears.
It's a very hard time.
It's crazy times.
Yeah.
So Lahavdil, people that like mamish battled with it before that, what's going on,
Right. It's hard.
right?
It's hard times.
So you're right, you have to mamish chase it. It's like,
And I think also like with all the distractions that we have in life now, like our phones and our, like I think that's also why like anxiety and depression is I don't know if it is higher. So it is higher, right? I'm saying like because we're not sitting with it. We're not sitting with what we're feeling, and it
We're
just
not here.
and it keeps
We're here.
exactly. So it keeps on creeping in.
numbing
It just keeps on creeping in. And like that's not. I mean that's the whole thing with Hisbodeda. It's chaval that we haven't done a Hisbodeda's piece in so long. Like I feel like it's so funny. Okay, we'll get there, God willing, but like that's what like Hisbodedus is. Like it's all about
Grounding.
sitting with these feelings, sitting with your truth,
And also the people without the smartphones do not know half of news. They're not being bombarded with everything going on. And I'm like, I thought about that once. I'm like, but they don't know. And then I'm like, one second, their lives are so simple. And they don't know anything that they don't have to know. It's like this level of emunah of like, when Hashem brings me, I have to know.
Right.
But
like
if we go
it's
search
important
for it,
enough,
then
they'll
we're
figure
the
it out,
ones.
right?
Right. I don't want to start the next piece, so maybe we'll just end early because I feel like it deserves a lot of attention, and I don't want to rush through it.
We have to do something else.
Wait, what's with next week?
I think next week's not gonna happen.
It's not gonna happen. People are
Everyone's
switching
off,
off,
right?
All the kids
Yeah.
are.
Right.
Well, we have to switch over. When are you switching over? I'm doing it.
What?
I'm
gonna get through the week.
I can't do it on Monday. If you guys want to reschedule for Wednesday, I could.
Should we meet in the park with all our kids and then learn?
Let them find
No, I need to prepare. I need to like,
What do you
big
do?
kids. You don't have big kids. Oh, they don't stop you.
Maybe send us a voice note.
I don't like, it has to be a long.
I have no choice. They don't stop
Every
you.
day. Can we
Maybe
do
on Thursday, cook on Friday. Thursday,
If you guys want another one, I can't do Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. But if you, I mean, I'm game to do another one.
I would love before Pesach.
But no pressure, but
If it was like, if you can manage it.
I can do it in my house. My kids aren't
We
here.
always need a lot of that physical.
No, I'm not scared of my kids. I'm just whatever. My kids sleep. Nobody's gonna be awake anyway. It's like it's fine. I'm just saying like I just figured this would be the last one because nobody would be able to make it happen.
I can limit it to next week.
So I would take the whole time to do this last piece because it's
We could do shit, we could half hour, it's if it works for people.
fine. Maybe we'll do a half hour to finish it. What?
First of all, I got an hour.
Oh, what'd you say?